Hey everyone, Stacks here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment down below and tell me what you think about XForce 8 after we get into this. This, of course, is written by Benjamin Percy. Bazaldua is your artist, and Guru FX is your color artist. And XForce 8 comes off the heels of, well, I guess XForce 7, of course, but it comes off the heels of an issue that was really dealing with a lot of the trauma that Colossus and Domino have experienced since the beginning of Dawn and X, and them kind of reaching out to each other and connecting because of the pain they've experienced and what they're going through. XForce number 7 also featured Domino trying to get her groove back as she pursued this assassin who was making these impossible shots, and her having felt that she had lost her luck, she knew it had to go somewhere. Well, when we finally run this person down, we find out that it's either, we've debated about the name. Is it Amanad? Is it Misfortune? Is it Reverse Domino? Whatever it is, this person is using Domino's ability in order to carry out these assassinations. And that's who we start this issue with. I'm going to call her Amanad because it seems just the most fun. She is in London and she's getting cleaned up, and you hear somebody in the other room coaxing her to come to bed. Well, as she clears the steam from the mirror, she reaches up, grabs her ear, and pulls it off and pulls it out the line of like a garrote, like we saw back in X-Force number 2 after the assassination of Professor Xavier, with these modified human beings who, I mean, they're constructed assassins. Well, as she steps out, she is met with Domino with a pistol pointed right at her face. And Domino tells her, "Are you surprised? Me too, because you've stolen something of mine, and now your luck is about to run out." Well, Domino's not dealing with no slouch here. She grabs a lamp and tosses it at Domino, which I gotta admit, if I'd have done this, the cord would have just like stopped it from going anywhere, and I got shot right in the face. But she tosses it, hits Domino right in the head with it, and it gives Amanat an opportunity to try to take out this minister. Well, her failing to capitalize on the momentum she had against Domino costs her, because she makes a break for the minister to stab him. Well, let's just say that that's the opportunity that Domino takes to ventilate her brain housing. Heck, even Domino thinks it's funny. She's like, "Oh look, we match." It's pretty funny. I laughed at it. From there, we jump back to the healing gardens at Krakoa, where they've taken the body for an autopsy, and as they're looking at it, they do some testing and they realize that what Zeno has done is managed to basically intertwine Domino's DNA with the DNA of this individual, and that's why she was able to have this power set, basically. They also go into a bit of speculation here where Sage says, "Look, I wouldn't put all my chips in one basket. I am willing to bet that there are more individuals like this out there." But Domino makes the assertion that, "Look, I don't think there's that many more of them." And when Sage kind of asks her, "Well, why do you think that?" And she's like, "My luck's improving. I actually found a 4-leaf clover today. I found it my whole life. Only 1 out of every 10,000 or so are actually a 4-leaf clover, but I've been able to find them my whole life. Wherever I live, they grow, and I find them. I find them by the hundreds. So whatever happened, killing her brought back a part of me." From there, we go to a Krakoan waterhole where, once again, Domino can't sleep, and while she's out, she runs again into Colossus. And the conversation that happens here between Domino and Colossus is actually really deep. Colossus reaches out and, they're talking, and he says, "Have you ever thought about taking a different kind of sleep? We could go for a swim. I could switch to metal. We can sink. And when we wake up, we'll both have been reborn into new bodies, and we can leave all of this behind us. We can forget about all the things that have happened to us. We can be born again without that trauma, without those scars." And Domino tells him, "Look, that sounds nice, but I need those scars. I need to remember." And as they sit there and comfort each other, Domino gets a message from Sage saying, "Look, I got something you need to see." Once Domino gets there, what we find out is that when Domino mentioned the 4-leaf clover to Sage, it gave Sage an idea, and she started looking at it. Basically what she was able to do, which I had to suspend my disbelief, but I was able to do it, is that a 4-leaf clover has a specific pattern. It's a square as opposed to what is typically a triangle with just a typical 3-leaf clover. Well, she was able to take this and use satellite imagery in order to find where they were clustered. And what she found is along a certain patch of train tracks in Russia, there was a stretch of these, and they draw the conclusion that, you know, after their base was hit in Korea, that Xeno had developed a mobile facility because they thought it would be, you know, it'd be harder to hit a moving target. From there, we find out that Domino sought out Colossus and said, look, you know, I want you to go with me. And he was reluctant to, but he finally told her, look, I don't want to go, but if you need me to go, I'll do it. And, you know, she says, look, if I don't have luck on my side, there's nothing better to have than a big, sweet bulldozer. And so the plan of attack here is they put a Krakoan portal seed inside of a suitcase, and they smuggle that into Russia on a train that is due to intersect along this portion of the rail. I guess I shouldn't say intersect, it parallel. It's gonna go past this other train that's going back and forth along the tracks. And when it does, Colossus and Domino jump over to this train that is being used as a Xeno base. And once they jump over and rip into it and drop in, they drop into a container full of blood. It's just up to Colossus's nipples in blood. And as they rip out of that part of the lab and into the next part, they just come across all of these different containers with different body parts, and it's very reminiscent of the lab in Korea. And Domino's sitting there thinking to herself about her background and how she's this product of this top secret government program, and how she's actually, because from that program's eyes, considered a failure, and now she's here, you know, being used as a lab experiment to enhance this next generation of human assassins. Well, as she's focused on this, the next car over opens up, and in pours just a dozen or so Domino knockoff assassins. And with that, it's on. These two take into him. I mean, and Colossus isn't playing around. He's actually ripping these dudes in half and slinging them around until he finally just gets to the point where he hops out of the car while Domino is still in there fighting, plants his feet down, and just crushes this whole train, just stops it on the spot, just creating this big multi-car pileup. Now, an unintended consequences of this is he pulls Domino from the wreckage, and she's been hurt. She's critically injured, and she makes him promise, like, look, when I come back, I want to keep it all the pain. I want to remember absolutely everything. You promise me, Peter, promise me. And he's, you know, I promise. And as she sits there and you're led to believe she dies, she just says, thank you. From there, we jump to Xeno. Now, Xeno they had their lab hit in Korea. They had this mobile lab destroyed, and their investors are starting to get a little bit antsy. Well, this guy with the peacock tattoo is trying to play this off as like, look, we're only out in time and money, and we have plenty of both. This isn't that big of a deal. Well, somebody in the back decides to pipe up, and when he does, the man with the peacock tattoo tells his henchman Finnegan to, hey, our buddy there is speaking out of turn, go take care of him. Well, next thing you know, we get a crunching sound, and Finnegan's flying across the room, and this guy here basically says, look, it's time for a hostile takeover. So I'm going to go ahead and make a resolution of strength and a declaration of war. So it appears that Xeno is going to try to go to war against Krakoa. And that wraps up XForce number 8. Now, I'll say I did enjoy this book. The Colossus and Domino storyline, I was glad we got it. I'm glad we're seeing these scars that they have and how they're both dealing with them. How Domino is showing this this resolve, this resilience, and that, you know, she's accepting what's happened to her. It's hard and it's difficult, but she's kind of got that it's going to strengthen me in the long run approach to it, where you have Colossus, who kind of on the other side just wants to forget that it ever happened. The pain and the suffering is too much for him, and he said, he just want to take turn to metal, sink to the bottom of this body of water and drown and be reborn without this pain. And this is very much two different aspects of how people handle post-traumatic stress, that not wanting to deal with it, the not being able to deal with it, and you're trying and you just want it to go away. And then you have those who they struggle with it, but they cope with it in ways that they see it kind of as that crucible where they could go through it and they could be strengthened by it, and in the long run, and they don't want to forget it because they think that those scars, they do make them a better person in the long run. You know, Colossus has here though what a lot of us don't, and that's, you know, this resurrection protocol where he has that fallback. You know, I've dealt with individuals who don't, you know, obviously have a resurrection protocol, and they get to this point where they can't handle it and they want to forget it and they don't see a way past it, and it gets very dark. And it's a really sensitive issue, especially when people, like, they fear for their career if they seek help. And, you know, a lot of people associate PTSD with soldiers, but I mean, it could be anybody. You're paramedics, EMT, people who suffer trauma in their life. It's not a, you know, just because you wore the uniform you could have PTSD kind of thing. And I don't want this to come off as cheesy or anything, but if you're out there struggling with something like this, absolutely get help and talk to somebody, because it's serious, and you're not the only one to go through this. You're not alone in it. So just if you need it, seek help. Absolutely. Just talk to someone. Back to the book though. I love the shot with Domino catching up with Amanad and taking care of that. And then one thing I will say is I didn't like the fact that you didn't get really, I would have liked to see Domino, like something happened during the fight, you know, they're overrun kind of thing, and then Colossus makes this jump. It's just like he stopped the train, he caused this big pile up, and she was injured in it, but it's very nondescript as to what exactly happened. And that's kind of, I don't want to say a cop-out, but it kind of is. I think Benjamin Percy continues to deliver good work. I'm enjoying XForce. I know it's maybe dropped the last couple issues for some people because the pace seems down a little bit, but I still think it's a really exciting book, and I think it's going to pick up again here shortly. These are kind of the emotional issues. I think the art here complemented what you've seen throughout the series, kind of that grittiness, similar line work. I thought it was good. I've really enjoyed the art through this. I do have to say that Sage, and the way they've done her eyes in her glasses, the reflection in them, make her look like she has giant googly eyes. They did the same thing with Beast back in a couple issues, and I laughed at it then. I didn't say anything, but I saw it this time, and the reflection was so big that it looked like she had huge goofy anime eyes behind her glasses. But I thought it was funny. I laughed at it. I'll probably put a picture up on Twitter. Anyways, guys, it's been a great book. I do want to send my thoughts and prayers for all the individuals here in the Nashville area here in Tennessee. We had a huge tornado come through, lots of damage, a lot of individuals who lost their life, homes and everything else. So y'all just keep Tennessee in your thoughts and prayers the next few days as we cope with the fallout from this big storm. Anyways, guys, if you haven't checked out my Fantastic Four X-Men videos, go do that so you can register to win those books, the complete series. And, of course, if you haven't yet, subscribe, leave a like, comment down below. Let me know what you think of X-Force. And are you continuing to pick this up? Is this a storyline, or is this a book that is remaining on your pull list going forward, guys? Also, what do you think about the possibility that individual that just pushed back his henchman was possibly a vampire, maybe even Dracula? Y'all tell me what you think below. That's all I got. Real Comic Stacks out.